All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh. Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rachakodash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the whole elect of the tabernacles of David. It's got to go out the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, wherever you may be. To you I say Shalom, Yahshua, Shalom. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, lest the Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, to be ignorant means to not know. The name of the word Satan in the Hebrew, all right, is adversary, all right, false accuser, slanderer, calumniator, okay. His devices is what we're about to talk about here. And as most of us probably already know by now, which I believe was in a recent news clip, I mean, I can't remember how many days back it was, but obviously it was recent. And I just spoke about it, because I call them Jack in the Box shooters, okay, and they keep popping up, and certain we'll say events, okay, keep occurring. All right. And I call them Jack in the Box shooters because, like when you're cranking the arm, the crank on the Jack in the Box, you're cranking it and cranking it and cranking it, but you don't know when the little, what is it? I think it's like a clown inside or something or whatever it might be, but the little clown's going to jump out the box. Okay. And so that's how these shooters are. Okay. That's why I call them Jack in the Box shooters, because they're popping up out of nowhere and they're happening back to back. Okay. And some people are noticing, not everybody. But yeah, the last talk was, I forget the I can't even say guy, I don't know what it was, like a transgender, the thing's name, its name, or however, he, she, it, them, they, they do that stuff like that. Whatever it was, all right. Pretty sure most of us have heard about it by now. Okay. So this here is I was just pointing in the AI chat. Sometimes I ask a question, sometimes I demand for you to tell me this or tell me that. But yeah, so this is about the manifesto that was supposedly, which is crazy because you got shooters releasing, or not releasing, but having manifestos. Back in the days, you had killers that were trying to be hidden. They wanted to be known but hidden. Like some, I don't know, some crazy Zodiac killer. All right. You don't know who the person is, but they want to leave a mark. Like this is my call mark, and let you know that I did this, even though you don't know who I am. Okay. Or even if you want to use fairy tale, like the movie Saw, okay, the Jigsaw, I think it's called Jigsaw Killer. He was Jigsaw something. I know they call him Jigsaw, okay. So nobody knew what he was or who he was, but everybody knew that, okay, this was Jigsaw because the crazy puzzle. So that's how things were back. When you're looking into history, a killer with the call sign, but you don't actually know who the killer is. But now you have these people popping up, and they're coming and showing their faces, talking about it, writing death notes, suicide notes, manifestos, all this kind of stuff, okay? And so we know, and as we spoke about it, but the event that happened before this, all right, because this was the most recent one. The one that happened before that is when we spoke about it, and I mentioned I called them Jack in the Box shooters, and I said it's probably going to be more. And sure enough, this guy pops up, or this thing pops up, okay? And so, as I also said, that Esau is going to utilize that, okay? Because he likes to order Abkeo. Whatever he can utilize to move forward with his agenda, he's going to use that, okay? So, because I mean, you can have an event where it's an actual person just randomly do something, but you also have to remember how the government operates. They can set up a person. I mean, not saying that real people's lives don't get lost, men, women, children, babies, or whatever, but they, set up an event because that event stirs up, you know, uh, uh, um, their power hand. All right, so this is happening, so we need to do more of this or do that or whatever, and that's exactly what this led up to. Okay, so and you can see why they were back to back. Okay, it says the recent manifestos of mass shooters reveal a complex interplay of personal grievances, extremist ideologies, and a desire for notoriety or to inspire others. While specific content varies, common themes include expressions of anger against perceived societal wrongs, adherence to conspiracy theories, and detailed planning of attacks. All right. One notable recent manifesto is that of Robin Westman, the perpetrator of the August 2025 Annunciation Catholic Church school shooting. That's another way to get people. All right. because people are wrapped up in church, and especially when you say something like Catholic, okay, they get even more wrapped up, okay? But, I mean, just church in general, right? Annunciation Catholic Church school shooting in Minneapolis. Westminster Manifesto, which was timed for release on YouTube, included disturbing writings and images. And yeah, something like that could reach YouTube, but if we say the wrong word, we get a strike. Might even get our channels taken down, because they actually started giving me those. I forget what they're called, but it's the little Ghostbuster signs. I started seeing some of those pop back up. It's sometimes when you use like clips and stuff like that. But even when because they'll tell you like to blurt out the sound, and you blurt out the sound, they'll still give you that warning thing, which is saying that, hey, we might strike you, okay? But of course, I just didn't do it anyways. But yeah. But something like this can hit the internet, right? It's like because I know I keep bringing it up from time to time, the ritual that they did at the WEF. If they didn't want you to see it, that would have been cut out from video feed. They would have probably recorded it, but the public would have not seen it. But yet the public saw it. But let's keep going. So it says, it featured a journal with a lengthy message to his family, guns and magazines with violent writings, a target with an image of Jesus, and a sketch of a church. Yeah, because I think he had like not the diagram. The word escapes me. But he had the layout, okay, of this church. So it says CNN reported that the manifesto contained racial, and of course this is in there, anti-Semitic slurs, including 6 million wasn't enough. So he's speaking, some tough stuff. Okay. The racial part, they don't give a damn about the racial part. But when it says anti-Semitic slurs, including 6 million was not enough. In other words, it's saying that this shooter wrote that 6 million, so-called, not the real ones, but the so-called Jews wasn't enough dead. That's basically what he was saying, or what he was writing there, right? And it goes on to say, in reference to the Holocaust, and listed names of other mass shooters like Adam Lanza. Despite these elements, the notebook reportedly stated, in regards to my motivation behind the attack, I can't really put my finger on a specific purpose. It definitely wouldn't be for racism or white supremacy. I do it to please myself. But see, this is all part of the confusion that Esau makes. He wants color against color, race against race, political parties against political parties, whatever else, financial statuses, all right? Those people against one another. So he's carrying out all this confusion. And now it's, I don't know, trannies versus everyone. I mean, because they're making it, like, okay, now we got to watch out for these LGBT, whatever it's called, plus people, right? I can't really put my finger on a specific purpose. It definitely wouldn't be for racism or white supremacy. I do it to please myself, all right? It says I do it, I do it to please myself. I do it because I am sick. A former classmate also recalled Westman praising Adolf Hitler as a child, see? So, and a lot of these people are just trained up from a certain age, or sometimes a young age, all right, to fulfill this purpose. Because Esau, what did Scripture say? Is it his inward? Let me see if I can find it here. I pull up a little book here. The inward thoughts are deep, or something like that. There it is. Let's see what's around that. Psalms 49. Okay, yeah. So 10. For he seeth that the wise men die, likewise the fool and the brutish person perish and leave their wealth to others. And the elites do that, okay? They leave, it says that in another chapter, leave the rest of their substance to their babes. All right, continue on with my wicked empire, okay? Because we know that we're going to be reincarnated at some point. They may not know who, okay? And they're not going to remember. But as long as that wicked empire continues, it satisfies them, okay? Because they're still in power. They're still in that loop. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. Oh, that's not the one I want either. And their dwelling places to all generations, they call their lands after their own names. No, it's not that one. Let me see. I thought I had it. Okay, so that was a good verse though. Inward, I think it says something like inward thoughts are deep, something like that. Let me see if I can find it though. If not, we can still make the point. Is that it? No, that's not it. Here it is right there. Psalm 64. Yep, the water Yahweh no shot. And yeah, let's just get the what I wanted right here. So let's just get 5. Psalm 64 and 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily, meaning secretly. All right. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart, meaning their mind, is deep. Okay. So when they lay snares, all right, like you have this MK Ultra program. So that's what we were talking about. All right. So they'll do that. Okay. Um, they'll train people in with their little, messing with people's brains and stuff like that. Okay, so that's how we know, like I said, they're always the occasion where it's just a random person who randomly just, started spazzing, but sometimes it's the government behind things, all right, which, they get their order from the bankers, all right, so you can't put it past, okay, especially with an event like this. This is just too random and too out there for it to just have been some random transgender just wigging, okay. Another significant manifesto was left by Audrey Hale, the 2023 Nashville Covenant school shooter. While the full contents have not been publicly released as of September 2025, authorities confirmed Hale left behind a manifesto, artwork, and other writings. Police indicated Hale studied previous mass shooters and planned the attack. Experts suggest such manifestos are often written to publicize motivations, punish, or inspire others. Dr. Catherine Ramsden, a professor of forensic psychology, noted that killers typically vent against people, institutions, or their social standing, and that the manifesto offers them a sense of power. Criminal profiler John Kelly emphasized the importance of analyzing Hale's writings to discern a motive and prevent future shootings, noting Hale's self-identification as a transgender male was a rare characteristic among mass murderers. But now you have something new, all right? A new thing in the earth, right? The manifesto, along with self-portraits and maps of the school, was found in Hale's car. The manifesto of Peyton Gendron, the Buffalo supermarket shooter in 2022, extensively detailed his motivations, which were heavily influenced by extremist online content. A study revealed that over 80% of the rationale sections in Gendron's manifesto were plagiarized from hate sites, with over 56% taken from other white nationalist attackers' manifestos and 26% from white supremacist sites. The manifesto prominently featured the Great Replacement Theory, a conspiracy theory asserting that non-white people are intentionally replacing white populations. Okay, and that's part of what we just mentioned. All right, race against race, nationality, or how you want to call it. In this theory, which gained prominence after the Christ Church mosque shootings, which that's crazy in itself. Christ Church mosque, make it make sense. Christ Church mosque shootings, all right, was a central theme, despite the attack targeting black individuals. Gendron's manifesto also made extensive use of memes reflecting a shared online culture among far-right extremists. While targeting black people, the manifesto's text analysis showed a higher, prevalence of anti-Semitic rants, framing the Jewish community as the true enemy, coordinated the replacement efforts, you see? And when they say the Jewish community, you know what they're talking about. Not the real ones, but those over there. But that's the whole point, though, with the anti-Semitic talk and so on and so forth. Because anytime you push a button towards those people, all right, a landmine is going to go off, okay? You could do is say anything else. But if you push the button on them, all right, dynamite is going to explode, okay? Solomon Henderson, the Antioch High School shooter, also left a 51-page manifesto titled, and I'm pretty sure it probably says nigger cell, but incel, it might, I'm not really sure, manifesto, which expressed vilest word, about so-called African Americans and Jews. Well, those are the same people. We're not Africans, we're not Americans, we're Israelites, the so-called blacks, okay? And then that's also where Jews come from, the Southern Kingdom. The so-called Negroes were seen as the Haitians, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. But we're going to read this as it is because we want to make the point because we know the truth, in other words. But we'll read this as it is to make the point, which express valid words about African Americans and Jews, because when they say Jews, they're talking about, all right, the propeller hats. The manifesto contains, if you don't know what I mean when I say propeller hats, just go and look it up, okay? And then just use your imagination, okay? The manifesto contained accelerationist rhetoric stating the West has fallen. Well, the West has fallen. Heavy words, right? Billions must die. More heavy words. Billions must die. It's twice, okay? It says accelerate, accelerate, accelerate. And I'm just reading, okay? These are not my words. I'm simply reading what the AI chat has. Accelerate, 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 indicating a desire for societal collapse to achieve ethnic dominance. Jared Holt, a researcher specializing in hate and political extremism, noted the unusual aspect of a black individual expressing white supremacist ideas. The manifesto also included anti-Semitic claims, that's about the third time they mentioned this, from groups like the Goyim Defense League, and appeared to plagiarize content from the Christchurch Manifesto, including a line about being radicalized by Candace Owen. That's hilarious. Okay, which I believe she set up, okay, to do what she does, okay, because she ain't said all the things she said, and she's still kicking. All right, now they did a little pushback on her. Okay, I don't really just like follow, so I don't really know what Candace Owens is doing right now. I mean, she makes some good points about things sometimes, but she's almost too good to be true, so I'm not sure about Candace. But that's just my own opinion. So it says these manifestos, because come on, a so-called black woman of all people talking about the things she talks about, revealing certain hidden information that she reveals, and it's a little bit too good to be true. These manifestos collectively highlight a trend of mass shooters using these documents to articulate grievances, propagate extremist ideologies, and seek posthumous recognition or influence. And just made me think about how we talk about all the time. I forget the daggone minute now, but I know it says whichever one it is, freedom of speech and redress of grievances. And as always talk about, from time to time, I mentioned where Esau is against the so-called hate speech, freedom of thinking, free speakers and stuff like that. So that never goes away. He chips away at those things in the background. Okay. And let's read some more and so we can further make that point. It says they often reflect a deep engagement with online extremist communities where ideas and content are shared and amplified, contributing to radicalization. The content frequently includes conspiracy theories, racist and anti-Semitic sentiments, and a desire to inflict damage on society. The debate surrounding the public release of these manifestos centers on the public's right to know versus the risk of inspiring copycat attacks or giving notoriety to the perpetrators. Yeah, that's one thing, but it's a whole other thing when it's actually the government behind the person. Okay. So with that being read, I'm gonna jump. I'll probably get rid of that one and grab this. Okay, because with this recent event, it wasn't the first, obviously, probably won't be the last. But with this recent event, they're talking about the Gideon threat detection system. Okay, and I'll play them afterwards. Okay, and we just end with those little short video clips or whatever. But yeah, so this is what they want to push now. All right, we've all seen the movie Minority Report, and if you haven't seen it, well, I guess now is the time, okay? Because it's been talked about, many times, okay? So basically, in Minority Report, you had what was called precogs, all right? Precognition, precogs, okay? So they would see a crime before it happened, and then the police will go and arrest the man or woman or whoever before they committed the crime against whoever, or right in the nick of time when they were about to create it, or about to do the crime. Okay, and the twist was, when the main guy, who was played by Tom Cruise, was a big ass hypocrite, because when the precogs showed him doing a pre-crime, he ran off. You arrest everybody else, but now you're in the hot seat. You run off, okay, and try to prove your innocence or stop what's going to happen, which is so crazy, because that is Esau. Okay, that's Esau for you all day. Okay, he will create a situation and then act like he was never there. He'll be the last in line for suspects, man. That's even if he's in line for suspects at all. Okay. So and that's what, when you go back to Cain, he's a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, like the scripture say he would be. So now they're talking about this Gideon threat detection, which, if I'm correct, it goes back at least probably further than that. But I know when I was poking around and seeing certain things a day or so ago, it goes back at least about 3 years. Could go back further, but I know last time I saw it was at least about 3 years ago. But look how fast they have Trump moving, okay, with stuff. And so anything that they can put forth to heighten their agenda, okay, they're going to do it, because like it says in Revelation 12:12, the devil has a short time, and they know that and understand it. So when you go down to this, the Gideon is an AI powered threat detection system proposed by Aaron Cohen, designed to scan the open web for signs of violent attacks before they occur. Like I said, if you have not seen Minority Report, you won't get why I explained what I just explained about the movie. You got to see the movie to understand, okay, what they're trying to create. And there's something else I want to play, because in one of these clips here I got, which I watched a couple times, because I was trying to figure out everything that was going on. And then when this came up, it made me immediately think about that movie. But one of the last Mission Impossible, which they did 2 parts to it. It's Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, and then Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. And in those 2 movies, you had something that's called the Entity, okay? And so there was a Russian, I believe it was a Russian submarine. I know it was a submarine, Sevastopol or whatever, okay? Which, yeah, I believe that's Russian, because in real life there's a Sevastopol in real life, which is Russian. So the submarine had this, you can't say no entity. It's a computer program, okay, that went rogue, and it ended up having the submarine shoot the missile on itself. I'm not going to spoil it unless you haven't, because in case you haven't seen the movie. And so everybody's now searching for the keys that unlock that entity, because there's 2 keys. They're set together. All right. You got to cross hatch them to make it fit, and they, work together. It's actually shaped almost like the submarine itself. When you look at the key, if you haven't seen the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. And so the entity actually went rogue, and it wants to take over the earth. Okay, and that's really what Esau is like. I'm gonna play a clip there. I'm probably gonna get flagged for it, but I'm gonna play it anyways. But I did cut a lot of it out. It was like 4 or 5 minutes long, but I just wanted a certain part there. But when we get through this, I'm gonna play those 2 clips. Actually, 1 clip, because I lost the other one. I couldn't find the other one I wanted, because there was one from the first movie and one from the second movie. But that particular scene in the first movie I couldn't get, because they chopped it up, and there was certain portions in there that I want to get out of the scene, so you can further understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, go check out The Entity, and that's basically what Esau is trying to do. But you'll see what I mean when I get there. So let's get through this first. So it says, we'll board that chair and we'll get there, right? The system aims to identify patterns such as grievance buildup. Look, grievance buildup, those that are complaining, right? Those that speak out about the current society or system or whatever the case may be. Then it says martyrdom language. So those that want with really that's, if you think about it, speaks to these shooters, right? Because Esau's probably the one setting them up anyways, but it speaks to those shooters. Because martyrdom language. I'm gonna go do this here at some school or church, and I'm gonna write a manifesto. Okay, so anybody even online talking like this is going to be found out. It just goes into their pre-crime, right? It says tactical planning, which that's straightforward. School scouting, so anybody that seems like they're casing a school, we're going to pick up on you. And extremist indoctrination. Okay, so where's this technology when people scout schools to abduct children? All right, or to pick up children from off the school bus route before they get home or something. All right? Are they going to use that technology for that? Probably not. School scouting and extremist indoctrination. So anybody, I guess to sum it up, they'll say a cult, okay? Which are often observed prior to mass shootings. How would you know? Because Esau observes these things, and also Esau plays a part in these things. Cohen, that's it? That's just 2 paragraphs. Cohen, a former IDF operative and Fox News commentator, has pitched Gideon as a tool for law enforcement and schools too. There you go. There's a key word right there. Preemptively, going back to the word precog, okay? They're basically saying to see these things before so we can act before, okay? Which is a part of it. Really, when you think about it, it's part of that 2 Thessalonians 2:4, okay? Playing God, okay? Because only the Most High knows something before it's going to happen, okay? Now, sometimes we can have our assumptions, and 99% of the time, assumptions are wrong. All right, people are not right simply because just because you have an assumption doesn't make you right. It's just simply your assumption. Okay, 99% of the times, assumptions are probably wrong. Okay, but to make my point here, all right, going back to that 2 Thessalonians, okay, them trying to foresee things that happen. That's another level of them playing God, because they want to control you. They want to control your funds. All right, control your living. They want to know everything about you. They want to see you at all times, mass surveillance, okay? And then they want to also guard your thoughts, okay? Your dreams and what you're going to do before you do it. Is that not playing God? Okay, so that lines up with the scriptures. It says to preemptively identify mass shooters or domestic threats. The system, if fully developed, will reportedly analyze publicly available data. All right, it would reportedly analyze publicly available data, including social media, which is because brothers have talked about that recently. The like having a digital identity, okay, and speaking about the what they call the thing on, because it's like a little star or whatever on your license, which that happened years ago. That was even before I was in the truth. Okay, where they were forcing those that were here to get that little so-called star on your license, so you can't, because you have to go in. If you don't have it, you can't enter federal buildings or court houses and stuff like that. Okay, and they were pushing it out for free, and they were saying that after this date, you can get it now for free, but afterwards you'll have to pay for it. But nonetheless, you will have to get it, whether you get it now for free or you have to pay for it. But guess what? It's not the MOTB, okay? Nor is it a digital identity, okay? But I remember that years ago, before I was even in the truth, they were pushing it. I forget what they call it, okay? Because I know brothers have been talking about it recently, about the license, though, the things that they were doing at DMV. And that's actually not new. That happened years and years ago, okay? At least 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, probably about four or more years ago, okay? Three in between 3 to 5 years ago, I guess, four or five, okay. But yeah, they were pushing it out for free here at the DMV, and then they said after this date you can't get it for free. You're still going to have to get it. They're going to make you get it at some point, but then you're going to have to pay for it yourself, okay. But it's not MOTB. It's not a digital identity. It just says you can't go into courthouses, which, the water happens from a shot. I got no reason to go to courthouses that haven't been for years. And well, I ain't got to go no time soon. Okay, courthouses or federal buildings, anything like that. Okay, but that star is just, it's just for that reason there. But anyways, it says to flag pre-attack indicators. While Cohen claims Gideon is the first AI-powered threat detection system, critics argue this is hyperbolic, noting similar functionalities in tools like SocialNet and Palantir, which has been a big talk. Palantir, as of September 2nd, 2025, Gideon does not appear to be a fully operational product. Rather, Cohen is seeking funding to build a minimum viable product, MVP, right? Of all abbreviations, MVP. Donations are currently accepted. Who wants to donate through his website to support his development? But this is what they're planning next, okay? To bring the pre-crime, which is really only bringing what? More or higher level of mass surveillance, okay? Mass surveillance, and that's it, okay? So if another one of these Jack in the Box shooters happens, we know why. It's because they're trying to do what they have to do to push this Gideon threat detection system, okay? And as we always speak about, where they market towards you as a what's the word? Like as convenient, right? Or as something that's necessary. Okay, but really it's just surveillance. That's all. Okay. The Gideon threat detection system is all nothing but mass surveillance, which plays into their whole agenda. All right, which is ultimately ends up in digital system, this whole digital age, and microchips. Okay, and the brain ones too, but the main one is the other one that goes into your body. All right. So yeah, this is trying to push for this mass surveillance. So all these things we mention all the time, the CHIP, UBI, and social credit scoring system attached to their mass surveillance, and bam, you'll see what the scriptures talk about when it says they want to sit in the seat of the Most High, because that gives them the perfect system, and the Lord's setting them up on the left-hand side to do this, but he's going to eventually destroy them in the end. All right. So with all that being read, I gotta find it first. Actually, I think that was it. Yeah, here we go. I want to play these, and then we're going to end it from here. So this first one is just a little short. It's not even super important, just a short clip. I probably could have found some more, even better ones, but just, with that one, we'll play it first.
We have no idea what the shooter, what the issue was, what the motivation was. Was it connected somehow to the story they were covering? Right. Was it not? Was there some personal event that we have no idea?
They posted. They warned us.
And notice it says with digital footprints. Okay. So they're trying to track on a higher level, and they're pointing the gun towards mass shooters. They don't really give a damn about the mass shooters. And what they're doing is utilizing these jack-in-the-box shooters to push for their agenda. That's the real thing that's happening. All right.
They told the world exactly what they were going to do, but no one saw it in time. What if your department could see the threat before it happens? Gideon is the first real-time AI system built to detect threats online before they become attacks. Anonymous networks flagging behavior, predicting danger. We don't get a second chance. Let's not miss the next one.
And that's what they're pushing right now. All right. Gideon, AI-powered threat detection for law enforcement. Then you already have what? Cracking down on DC, federalizing DC, moving to the other states. Eventually, it's going to cover the whole U.S. of A. Okay, and then what? Then they can put an even heavier hand down on you Israelites, both Northern and Southern Kingdom, and oppress the other nations as well, because they don't care about them either. The main target are you Israelites, but they also have to get the other nations that are living here in line too, because I mean they have to be rolled up for their agenda, which is the CHIP. All right, and that's it on that one. So this is that next one I'm about to play here with the movie. This clip is from the second movie, The Final Reckoning. Excuse me, but I just want to put this in here to show you what I was talking about with the Gideon threat detection and Esau's agenda, and because Esau's always putting little things in his movies, man, everywhere. All right, and so I didn't even think about it before until that situation happened. Then they started talking about Gideon. Then it was like, oh wow, okay, but that's what they do. They throw things right in your face, as the old words were. You're not going to be able to say that we didn't say that I told you so. All right.
It is written. It is coming, Ethan.
And notice the words there. First thing which from that, I mean, I like I said, I darted up the clip to get what I wanted, but first thing you see is it is written, right? Okay, so what is Esau trying to do on the left hand side? Rewrite the Bible, wipe out God, all right, the Heavenly Father Yahweh, all right, the Lord and Savior, the Israelites, the angels, and everything, and recreate everything after Him, which is through what? Structuring through AI technology, all right, in his efforts to rule the earth forever, okay, without a true God in heaven, like when it shows you how bugged out he is, okay, having this artificial immortality, because he's going to upload his consciousness to the fusion of man and machine. Okay, so this is his agenda, and the biggest threat to him is those that know the truth, because if you're able to speak this truth, all right, and cry out to the true name of the Heavenly Father, you're playing a part in shouting down his kingdom, as the scriptures say.
Yes. The entity offers hope for the future.
And that's what Esau is doing, right, with his CHIP. He's gonna order Abkeo, right, and he's gonna say that I'm gonna give you hope by what? By issuing out that the CHIPs, man. Okay, It says the few who survive will be stronger. Why is that? As we just spoke about, Esau's trying to fuse man and machine. All right, machine is not everything by itself, but it's better than a human, and a human could be better with the machine. So we put two together, then eureka, gold at last. And that's what he's trying to do. And he's trying to use you to do that. And basically you're going to become his computer program. You're going to be a human computer program because you're going to have his C-hip in the side. That's why I always mention that movie, don't I? Repo Man, okay? You're going to be his walking humanoid, okay? Because he's going to have his chip inside of you. And he's going to be able to control everything of your life and know everything about you and surveil you at all the times. See?
You will survive. We will be stronger.
The children of the atom shall rise from the ashes.
The entity will help them rebound.
But only if you let it in.
But only if you let it in. Hey, only if you let it in. Because you have to make the conscious decision, all right, to accept this man's technology. And if the Spirit of the Lord is not covering you, you will fall victim to it. But if you don't, because you have to confess that you're forsaking the Heavenly Father. They can't force it into you. Of course, they can tie you down and just strap your arm to a chair and put the C-hip in you. Oh, easy said and done. All right. But then what happens if you claw it out or cut your hand off or cut your arm off? Okay. You have to make the conscious decision, because then if you cut your hand or arm or whatever off, it doesn't matter. You chose in your own spirit that you were going to trust him more than you trusted the Lord. That's why it says, but only if you let it in. Okay.
And if I don't, what then? Destroy the world, and you just destroy yourself. The choice is yours. The entity's future, or no future at all.
And that's why Esau thinks how Esau thinks, right? I'm going to rule, and if I'm not in rulership anymore, nobody's in rulership. So I'm prepared to kill all life that I can kill, and even launch nukes on the world if necessary, because I'm not in rulership anymore. Okay, and he's the worst thing to ever sit in the seat of power, as we see currently, because we're still in his underneath this power seat.
Let the world be enslaved, or let the world be destroyed.
There you go, heavy words thing, right? Let the world be enslaved, or let the world be destroyed. World be enslaved by who? By him, though. Okay. So that I'll pull this up from the entity, because the entity was a rogue AI. Now, it's not going to be rogue. Esau's going to have complete control over it. But you get why I'm pairing it up with this. When I went back and saw the scene, it's like, oh, wow. Okay, and like I said, there was another one from the first movie, but I couldn't get it like I wanted. So I was like, forget it, I just use this one. Okay? But that's how Esau thinks, man. I'm going to rule the world as God, or there's going to be no world to rule. I'd rather go to war and all of us die than to have someone else over me. But that's not what the scriptures say. Psalms 149. We're going to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. See? Esau knows what his future is, and he's trying to avoid it. He's trying to upset prophecy. And it says, now you are the chosen one. So that was nothing right there. All right. But yeah, so we talked about the shooter manifesto thing a little bit. Talked about the Gideon threat detection program, technology, whatever. Okay. And then, of course, we talked a little bit about Esau Edom, because he's tied up in all this anyways. Because he's in power and he's moving forward to complete his agenda. So that's it for this AI chat. Lord willing, you were edified. To next time, I'm going to say shalom.